Thank you for joining me for Lesson 27, Session 3, Solving Problems Using Data on a Line Plot. Our learning target for this lesson is I can display a data set of measurements and fractions of a unit using a line plot. To start, use fraction tiles to find the value of each expression. So pause the video and find your solution, and then press play again, and we'll do it together. Okay, so using fraction tiles, I'm actually going to draw them on the screen here. So we have 2 times 1 1/4. So we have 2 of 1 1/4. So we're going to draw these tiles here. So there's the 1 1/4, and we have 2 of them. So there's another 1, and we'll make another 1/4. Right there. Okay. And if I count how much that is, I have 2 and 2/4, which is the same as 2 and 1/2. Okay, so if I erase this part here, then we can look at the second part, because it starts with 2 and 1/2, and we're subtracting 1 3/4. Oh, I can actually, let's do this. I'm going to get my red out. So we're going to subtract 1 3/4. So let's get rid of this one right here. And then we're going to get rid of 3/4. So there's 1/4. We'll get rid of 2/4. And now this will have to cut up into fourths, so we can get rid of this one as well. So what we have left is 1, 2, 3/4. So this is how we can solve those problems using fraction tiles. Okay, Try It is at the top of page 563 of your workbook. Please follow along. The line plot shows the lengths of songs in minutes on Ron's playlist. Ron adds 2 new songs to his playlist. His new playlist is now 34 minutes in length. What are 2 possible lengths for the new songs? So what I would like you to do is pause the video and find what the problem is about, information that you need to use, and what you're trying to figure out there. Make sure you're circling and underlining, and use that information to try to solve this problem using whichever strategy you find best. And when you press play again, we're going to go over it together. Okay, so for Picture It, we're actually going to be looking at this problem by labeling the tick marks on the line plot to show the lengths of the songs. So this, I think, makes it a lot easier putting all of these tick marks in with their labels. Okay, for Model It, we can use equations to help understand the problem. Write an equation to find M, the length in minutes of Ron's original playlist. So M is the unknown, that stands for minutes, and if we add all of these together, then we will find out the length of his original playlist. So we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 is what we get when we add the whole numbers together. And I'm going to change this 1/2 to 2/4. So I have equivalent fractions when I'm adding. I'm going to change this 1/2 to 2/4 as well, because we can't add fractions unless they have the same denominator. All right, so here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fourths. And that is an improper fraction. So we're going to figure out 10 divided by 4, which goes in 2 times. With 2 left over, that would be 2/4, which would be the same as 1/2. So let's get rid of this 10/4 here. And we'll add the 2 1/2. 10/4 is the same as 2 1/2. And so his original playlist is 27 1/2 minutes long. Okay. Write an equation that shows how to find the total number of minutes, T, that the new songs add to the length of Ron's playlist. Remember that when he adds the 2 songs, then it's 34 minutes total. So if we take 34 minus this, minus 27 1/2, that will tell us how long the 2 songs are that he added. So if we take 34 minus 27 1/2, I have a problem here. We need something right here because if we're subtracting the fraction, we can't subtract something from nothing. So I'm going to take this 34 and I'm going to take 1 away from that and make that 33. And the 1 that I took away, I'm going to convert into a fraction, which is going to be 2/2. And so when I subtract, I get 1/2 there, and then I get 6 right here. So the 2 songs add 6 1/2 minutes to the playlist. So the 2 new songs could be maybe 3 and 3 1/2 minutes, or they could be 2 and 4 1/2 minutes. Those are 2 options. Connect it. Make connections and explain your thinking. Number 1. How many minutes M is Ron's original playlist? Explain how you know. We found that Ron's original playlist is 27 1/2 minutes because we added the lengths of the songs to find the total time. Number 2. How many minutes T do the new songs add to Ron's playlist? And explain. The 2 new songs add 6 1/2 minutes to Ron's playlist. We subtract the length of Ron's playlist from 34 to find the total length of the 2 songs he added. 34 minus 27 1/2 equals 6 1/2. Number 3. What are 2 possible lengths for the new songs? Is more than one correct answer possible? Explain. Yes, there is more than one correct answer possible. The song lengths could be 3 minutes and 3 1/2 minutes, or they could be 4 minutes and 2 1/2 minutes, or we could have 4 1/2 minutes and 2 minutes. There are many different options. That equals 6 1/2. Number 4. How did the line plot help you solve the problem? The line plot gave the length of each of the songs on Ron's original playlist, and we need that data to find the length of the 2 new songs. Number 5. How did you use operations with fractions to solve the problem? We added the mixed numbers to find the length of the original playlist, and we subtracted this total from 34 minutes. Then we added the 2 numbers to find a sum of 6 1/2 minutes. Number 6, reflect. Look back at your strategies. Which model or strategies do you like best for solving problems using data in a line plot, and explain. Okay, number 7. This is at the top of page 566 in your workbook. Ronaldo collects 10 shells at the beach and weighs each of them. He uses the line plot below to display the data. What is the difference between the weights of the lightest and heaviest shells Ronaldo collected? Show your work. Okay, this is where I would like you to pause the video and find your solution, and then press play again when you're done so you can check your work. So we need to find the difference between the weights of the lightest and the heaviest shells. So that's telling us to subtract. So the lightest shell is this one right here, and the heaviest is this one right here. Actually, I can draw that line a little better. Let me redo that. That one right there. Okay, this one does not have a tick mark on it, and so we can try to figure out what that actual measurement is right there. So I'm noticing that we have 9 and then something, and then 9 1/4, and then something, and then 9 1/2. So let's see, here's my 9, and there's the 10. I think the best thing to do here is to count how many there are between the whole numbers. And that's going to tell us what fraction that's divided into. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's divided into eighths. That means that the first one is going to be 9 1/8. So the lightest shell is 9 1/8 ounces. I'm going to write this over here, and you'll see why in just a moment. 9 1/8 ounces. Okay, and the heaviest one is 11 3/4 ounces. I'm going to write this above that because we're subtracting the smaller weight from the larger weight. So I want to make sure the larger one is on top. Now we cannot subtract fractions unless they have the same denominator. So I'm going to change my 3/4 to eighths. And so I'm going to multiply both of those by 2. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 2 is 6. So 3/4 equals 6/8. Now I can subtract. 6/8 minus 1/8 is 5/8. And 11 minus 9 is 2. So the difference is 2 5/8 ounces. Okay, we are looking at the same line plot here for number 8, but the question is different. What is the total weight of the shells Ronaldo collected that weigh less than 10 1/2 ounces? Show your work. Okay, again, pause your video and find your solution, and then come back to check your work. So we're looking for all of the shells that weigh less than 10 1/2. So I'm going to draw a line right here at 10 1/2. So we're looking at everything less than 10 1/2. So if and we remember that this is 9 1/8. I remember that. And that must mean that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 9 5/8 there. And everything else is marked. Okay. So the first one that we have is 9 1/8. And then we want total weight. That tells us to add. The next one is 9 5/8. Okay. And then we have 2 of them on 10 1/4. We want to make sure that we list both of those. And I'm just going to save myself a little bit of time. And I'm going to convert my fourths to eighths so that I don't have to write it twice. So let's see, 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 2 is 2, so 1/4 is 2/8. So 10 2/8 plus another 10 2/8. We need to make sure both of those x's are represented. And then we don't put down any of the others because they're on the other side of our dividing line. So adding these together, let's add the whole numbers here. So 9 and 9 is 18, and then 10 and 10 is 20. So 10, 20, 38 is our whole number. And when we add our fraction parts together, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 38 and 10 eighths. 10 eighths, however, is an improper fraction. So we're going to change that. We're going to make it, let's see, 8 goes into 10 one time with 2 eighths left over. So we have 38, 39, and 2 eighths. We can reduce that back down to 1/4. So 39 and 1/4 ounces. Number 9 says, what is the total weight of the shells Ronaldo collected most often? So we don't need to find all of them. We just need to find the ones he collected most often. So pause, find your answer, and then come back to check. The ones Ronaldo found most often are these right here. And I can tell just because there's more X's. And this is 11, so this would be 11 and 1/8. Okay. And we want the total weight of these three. So that's 11 and 1/8 times 3. Or we can add them together, 11 and 1/8. 11 and 1/8, and another 11 and 1/8. So 11 and 11, 11 is 33, and 1/8, 1/8, 1/8 is 3/8. So the correct answer here is C, 33 and 3/8. All right, thank you for working through the lesson with me. Your assignment is pages 576 and 578. Have a wonderful day.